All right. We are joined tonight with Seth Grimes, a Juggalo
What's
author.
going on?
Can you believe it? I'm gonna give it a little bit to get some people in here. So how you doing tonight, Seth?
Not bad, not bad. Just got done grocery shopping, so that worked out
Oh, I
well
feel
for me.
that.
Got some food in my belly, so I'm all filled up and ready to go.
Hell yeah, man.
Getting
Was it
fat,
crazy
you
out
know.
there at the grocery store? It's always crazy when I go
It
shopping.
was, dude. It was packed. It was really
Yeah.
packed, actually.
Feels like every time I've gone grocery shopping lately, it's just been a madhouse.
Yeah,
All right.
that's fun though.
Let me I'm gonna share the link here. A couple of places. If you want, I can email you the link over so you can share it out,
Is
like
it
the
the same one
YouTube
you sent
link.
me earlier?
No, the YouTube link, like the actual link to the live. So if you wanted to share that one.
Yeah. I think you sent it to me earlier. I did share it already.
Um, okay, here. Live now on YouTube.
See, you got quite the book collection behind you there.
Yeah, man, comic books and yeah, a lot of collectibles in here. This is kind of like my library room that I stream out of here.
Gotcha.
Um,
What's your most valuable comic book you got?
I don't know, probably a
Or just
single issue.
rarest?
It's probably a single issue, boy, that I can't think off top. You know what? Probably Preacher #1 probably is up there in price now to the point where it's maybe my most valuable because I have a really good, pretty not near, probably a very good condition Preacher #1 that's probably worth a couple hundo, I'd imagine. And a lot of my because I have like a full Preacher run, and I think a lot of those are now worth some money. Um,
Nice.
probably some of my boys' comics are worth money now too with that Amazon show. There's
Yeah.
probably something in there that I'm forgetting off top that's worth money. Um, these trades back here aren't worth as much money. These are more for like readability factor, which is why I like comics for the most part. I still have a shitload of single issues. Are you into comic books as well?
Not so much comic books, but I'm very much into, comic book movies. And I kind of, through
Or
that, I kind of brush up on the lore of comic books and stuff, but mostly just Marvel and DC shit.
that's what's up. Have you did you see the Suicide Squad?
I did, yeah.
What'd you think of that?
I actually really liked it. I'm a fan of James Gunn. I think he does great work. I love Guardians of the Galaxy. I thought
Hmm.
it was better than the first Suicide Squad. And I thought I was really disappointed because I saw it in theaters. I was pretty disappointed that it didn't really do that well in the theater. It was kind of a flop, and I think people slept on it, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I think with the COVID stuff going on, I think it still was affecting things. And that was an HBO Max release. So it's like
That hurts it.
people can watch it at home the same day for free, or if you have the app for free. Well, it's still not for free.
Right,
You're still
because you
paying for
look
the
at
app.
like Spider-Man, for example. I mean, besides being Spider-Man, of course, but that was exclusively in theaters, and that set all kinds of records. Just blew everything away for the pandemic era movies.
Yeah.
Scream did really good too this
Because
past
but that
weekend.
also wasn't available on another app the same weekend. That's why it was able to do
Both of them,
that.
yeah. I think that really hurts that. I think when it's co-streaming and stuff,
Yeah,
people
when people have the choice to
if
just
you
stay
have
home.
the exactly, yeah.
Yeah, facts. All right, man. So, Seth, what's your gimmick?
What's my
What do you do?
gimmick?
Yeah, what's your creative gimmick? What's your gimmick? That's the way I'm going to open some of these
Uh,
interviews. I start asking people what's their
well,
gimmick.
I'm an author, writer, podcaster. I was a rapper for a while. I still dabble in
Oh
that every
shit!
now and then. That's kind of where I got my start.
All right. Well, first of
Is
all,
rapping.
let's go into. I want to. You're a podcaster. What's your podcast? Get that plug off. I'm curious as
I
well.
don't have one active right now, actually. I was kind of, 100% full disclosure, man. I've kind of been going through like just a down phase, so I haven't been doing it. I do have a podcast feed that's live right now. with like a lot of back issue shit, and that's you can just search on Spotify for Seth Grimes Media, and
That's
it'll
what's up,
pop
man.
up like my full back catalog of stuff. And then I'm gonna be starting up a new podcast here probably next month, called Live to Tape, and that's just
That's
gonna
what's
be
up.
kind of almost like my just journal, just random like free form thoughts. The concept Live to Tape is I'm not gonna do any editing on it or anything. I'm just gonna kind of free flow and stuff. Another one, I have one, a wrestling themed one that I am going to be getting back into too. That one's still up. You can check out back issues. It's called the Pro Wrestling Podcast. It's
Wait,
kind
I
of
think I am
it's
aware of that podcast. I think I've stumbled
really,
upon that before. I don't know if
yeah, I
I've
haven't
listened to an episode, but I definitely have seen the
seen it.
graphic for that. I've definitely seen the graphic for it while looking for
Yeah,
wrestling
and
podcasts.
I've barely pushed it out there, but I'm going to get back into that and do a hard push. That one's actually a lot of work and editing. The concept of that is there's lots of wrestling podcasts. It's saturated the market, but nobody really does a podcast about the wrestling podcast. They're always about wrestling itself, like the shows. So I listen to all the wrestling podcasts and kind of just clip out little highlights, noteworthy things and stuff like that, newsworthy, and then I'll play a little clip and then I'll just kind of rant about it, and
Yeah,
that's that
that's
podcast. So
actually a service. Honestly, that's kind of how like some of the ICP stuff on this channel started popping off, and what led me into live streaming on this channel was me watching ICP's Patreon streams, which was a paid service, and
mm,
having these rants. Basically, I'm like in my living room, literally ranting to no one, ranting to my poor wife, really, and she's just like
yeah,
had enough of it and walks away, and I'm just like, Jesus Christ, like. I'm like, I know these are good Juggalo thoughts. I need to get these Juggalo thoughts
yeah,
out into
man.
the world. So I started just doing
Some
these videos, and that led to live streaming. And yeah, here we are. Um, but
sometimes
I
you just
really
got to
encourage
yell at
you.
the clouds and get it out.
Yeah, I need to get these Juggalo conspiracy theories and weird thoughts out of my brain. Damn it! Like, but it's
Conspiracy
led to
theories,
yeah.
I'd
There's
love to hear
conspiracy.
some of those.
Oh man. Well, I had a fella. Shouts out to my homie Willoughby Rags. He had this really wild one. Um, he shared with me earlier today, actually, that Ouija Mac is a conduit, um, like a Ouija board, as a ghostwriter
Like a
for
human Ouija
Violent
board.
J. Like Eminem is speaking through Ouija Mac as a conduit for Violent J, and his Ouija is ghostwriting for Violent J. That's a really wild one that my homie Willoughby Rags shared with me. Shouts out to Willoughby Rags. Hope he doesn't mind that I'm sharing his wild conspiracy theories, but I'm always into that kind of weird shit. I have a really wild one that I'm still not comfortable sharing on this stream, uh, but yeah, I really am into some of that shit. That really like crazy fandom shit. But anyway,
Yeah, no, that's fun. I like that kind of stuff.
yeah, I want to get into more of that kind of shit on here. Like I have to do a whole video where I talk about the really wild one. I almost dropped it on a live stream recently, but I'm like, no, I need to save that for a whole video because it's too wild. Anyway, I'm going to do a couple of questions to sort of break the ice. We've already broken the ice a little bit, but I want to
Yeah,
break the ice in a couple of different directions. Who is your
sure.
favorite serial killer?
Oh, that's a great question. Fuck, like a real life one or like a movie one?
Ooh, you can do a fictional one. That's okay with me.
How about I do both? If we're talking movies, I gotta go Jason Voorhees. The movies aren't the best, but him as a character and just the concept of Friday the 13th itself, I love it. And then if we're talking real life, then probably Richard Ramirez, to be honest with you. I know he's a
Hey,
creep and shit, but to me he's
Richard
the most
Ramirez came up the
interesting.
last time.
He's heavy metal. He's rock and roll. You know what I mean? So like he's just I don't know. He's got that cool factor, even though he's not because he's a rapist and shit. But yeah,
Yeah. That's the problem with a lot of these serial killers. We were talking about Manson on the
yeah.
last one of the last interviews too. And it's like, yeah, it's hard to really back Manson because of his racism. Whoop whoop to Whoop Conda in the chat. We got
What up?
Papa in the chat. What's up, Papa? Whoop whoop Taffy. Whoop whoop Juggalo Collectibles. Thank you all for tuning in. All right. So the other break the ice question, we're gonna break it in some other wild directions.
Yeah.
I was gonna actually let's see. Let's see, which one did I pick? Okay, you have to pick one, the other one dies. Or never existed, I guess you should say.
All right.
Nickelodeon or Cartoon Network?
Oh, Nickelodeon lives, Cartoon Network dies for sure. Because
Ah,
I mean,
interesting.
Nickelodeon now is just the SpongeBob network, right? But when I was a kid, it was Rugrats, it was Doug. Doug's like my spirit animal. Like if Doug cussed like a sailor and smoked weed and shit, I'd be Doug funny. So like his anxiety and how he overthinks everything, that's me. But yeah, man, early Nickelodeon was kid Double Dare, all of it, man. It was awesome.
Oh, that's what's up. That's probably my answer too. I'm a fan of both, low key, but I feel like there's almost a generational divide or something going on with
There
that. So
is.
I like to ask that question to sort of break that ice a little bit. So
Once
anyway,
Nickelodeon hit SpongeBob, that's when Cartoon Network was what's up, you know. But before SpongeBob, and that's only, and not that SpongeBob sucks, but it's just because it's the only show that's on TV now. But you know, but before that, Nickelodeon.
Nickelodeon hired a co-host to Papa,
They had like
Papa,
a foot
chill,
pedophile
Papa.
guy. Nickelodeon, one of their producers was into feet and shit, so there's like a conspiracy that like, yeah, I don't know if you went down
That's
that
definitely
rabbit
what
hole before.
that's definitely what he was talking about. That's what Papa was referring
Yeah,
to.
yeah, yeah,
That's a whole thing. Yeah, that's I don't even think that's conspiracy there. I think that's basically proven fact.
yeah, yeah.
It's really dark. Oh boy. All right. Well, we got off to an interesting start. So Seth, a gimmick name you told me. Do you want? I wanted to ask the last name Grimes. I immediately think of the Simpsons episodes, the Simpsons episode with the Grimes fella, Frank Grimes. Do you know what I'm
Oh
referencing? Is it
no,
not and
no,
not a reference
no,
to that at all?
nope.
Oh, okay. I just wanted to ask about that. That's the only name or the only question I had about the gimmick name, really. But
I just liked it
any
because it sounded dirty. You know, I would say if anything, it not inspired by Vic Grimes, the wrestler that New Jack almost killed,
yeah,
but not
there's
inspired
another
by
Grimes.
him. Yeah, yeah, I don't care about that guy, but the name, I guess, was like, so, you know, like what would have made it occur to me, and I just kind of like the way Seth Grimes sounds together. Sounds a little dirty, but professional at the same
Right.
time. So it's a good pen name.
So who are some of your literary influences or idols, people who made you want to start writing?
Well, first and foremost, it's Hunter S. Thompson. I actually, you know, if I could tell a brief little story, there was a point where I was like college age, but not in college. You know, I quit high school and shit, got my GED, so I was kind of like going nowhere, basically working at a factory, and I was like kind of struggling with what am I gonna do with my life, that kind of thing, and I had been dabbling with writing and stuff. You know, I've always been like a journal writer and in my rap days, I was a lyric writer and that kind of thing. But I had, and you know, you can believe it or not, but Hunter S. Thompson came to me in a dream. He was like in a neighbor's garage, just sitting at a table smoking a cigarette. And he just told me that I should be a writer. He said, I have a knack for stirring shit up, was his exact words. And since then, I woke up and I went and got a degree in journalism and just kind of hit the ground running.
That's fresh, man. I like that
Um,
story. I'm a big fan
he's
of
my
Hunter as
favorite.
well.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. He's my favorite writer, or at least my most inspirational. But also really like Stephen King stuff, and I'm a huge Harry Potter fan too.
That's what's up, man. I'm a huge Hunter fan though, for real, man. Big influence on my life, everything. Like that's an awesome story. I'm glad you shared that with me. Thank you.
It was real as hell. Whether it happened or not, it was real to me, and it gave
The
me
dream was
direction
real,
in
man.
life.
The dream was real.
Yeah,
The dream was
absolutely.
real.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Um, it doesn't matter if it was like, really his spirit or any of that heaviness you
Right.
want to put on it. Like the dream was real. That was something
Exactly.
inside if you want to look at it, it's something inside your psyche manifested as
Yes.
Hunter S. Thompson to tell you, yo, do this shit. You know
Yes.
what I mean?
Yep.
Um, anyway, so you mentioned I wanted to touch on this earlier. You did mention you were a rapper at one point. What was your rap
Hmm.
gimmick name? And so can you talk about
Yeah.
that a little
So
bit?
yeah. So in high school, I had really curly hair. I kind of keep it shaved now, but so I had like poofy, almost woolly like hair, and everybody nicknamed me Sheep. So, so I took the rap name The Sheep. So I went by The Sheep, and that was kind of all the music I released was put out under the name The Sheep. And then once I switched to writing, I took the name Seth Rhymes because you can't put out a book under the name The Sheep, really. And then at that point, Seth Rhymes stuck, so I'm going to take that. If I put out any more music or whatever, it'll be that.
So what kind of music was it? Was it like horrorcore shit or
When I was in high
on
school,
more
yeah,
under?
because I was definitely a Juggalo growing up, so it
Yeah.
was very inspired by that. It was very murder, kill, that kind of stuff, and fuck the world, rebellious, and a lot of funny stuff too. I like to say shit that just makes you just shake your head, like you can't say
So
that
you
kind
were
of stuff.
probably
So,
on horrorcore.com back in the day, I would assume.
yeah, I
Maybe.
remember it. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I
Okay, I
remember it.
was big. I was big on that horrorcore.com shit, dude. That was a huge way that like discovered a lot of like horrorcore and like this underground shit, like and got deeper into
Yeah,
that shit.
I
Like
I
that was
did kind
definitely
of
a
evolve out of
avenue.
that though. I was kind of horrorcore in like high school and stuff, but then I kind of got more away from like the horrorcore style and just kind of went with like the kind of the rebellious, fuck the world,
Yeah.
sarcastic, funny stuff. Leaned into that a little bit more.
So one of the reasons I wanted to bring up horrorcore.com, I have this as a later question, but I brought it up now, so I want to ask you. In the book, I was going to save this for in the book stuff, but in the book
Yeah.
you reference Wicked Dub. That's a real rapper. Did you know that was that a
Is it?
reference to something that really happened?
No,
That's a real rapper from back
no.
in the day.
I made up that name completely, so it's
That's a real
pure coincidence.
horrorcore.com.
It just sounded like the most horrorcore juggalo name I could think of, or one
You
of
nailed it because
anyway. Just
that's a real horrorcore.com rapper who was rather infamous for different reasons. He was on a song. Boy, shouts out to Wicked Dub, by the way. Yeah, I don't
shout
mean
out
this
Wicked
to
Dub.
I don't mean to shit on him, but there was a song where Q Strange, you do know who Q Strange is?
Definitely know who Q Strange is. Yeah.
So he paid Q Strange to be on a song with him, and Q Strange like dissed him on his own song, and was like, Q Strange had a line that was like, "I'll leave your heart off beat," like the second verse of this song, and it was like, oh,
Oh, that's
bro,
harsh.
oh yeah. But shouts out to Wicked Dub anyway. I don't mean to shit on you, homie, but yeah, rather infamous in the Juggalo world. Lost his virginity at the gathering of the Juggalos, I believe, back in the day, and
There's no
posted
better
about it.
place to lose your virginity.
Yeah, facts
He
around it,
probably
man.
brought something home with him though. He should get checked. But
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
live life, man.
Hey man, shouts out to the juggalettes out there, the juggalo love out
Yes,
there, the clown
yes.
love. I just discovered. Hey, shouts out. Hold on. I just discovered ICP a few years ago, and I'm hooked. Love Ouija too. My kids thinking I'm nuts. I have much respect for Juggalo. Shouts out to Juggalette Jen for just discovering this shit, and welcome to the
What up,
Juggalo
Jen?
world and shit. Um, Juggalette Jen cop, yeah, immediately gets called a cop, of course. Hey,
You get a lot
I'm
of
very,
cops
but
in
I
your
wanted to
chat?
talk about Little Taffy saying we know a guy who was assigned to basically babysit Hunter S. Thompson in college. I believe that because
I believe that
those
too.
the stories towards the end were very not good. Not good. Hunter was not in a good place towards the
Yeah,
end. Just kidding. Much love.
he knew it.
We
That's
know
why he
we
offed
know
himself. That's
we
why he
know who.
offed himself. He knew he was slipping.
Yeah, man. He was in a sad place. It's depressing. One of the reasons I actually stopped drinking is I used to glorify it too much. Hunter was a reason I glorified it, honestly, and but Hunter's ending
Same,
is
brother.
not a good ending.
Same,
So if yeah,
same.
I stopped drinking
I,
like about 2 years ago.
I've actually, not to glorify it, but I've actually always said like, if it gets to the point where I'm like can't take care of myself anymore or anything, I'm just gonna pull a Hunter Thompson. Like I'm not gonna put my
Yeah.
family through that and the medical bills, and it's dark and we don't want to get to. But I mean, for sure, I think
But
everybody
the
kind of
thing,
thinks about that kind of
I just
stuff.
don't want to end up in a place where I'm like I'm because he was angry at his body. You know what I mean? That's an ugly place to be because he was so physical. He wanted to get up and run and go swimming and do all that shit that he liked to do, and he couldn't do that. Anyway, we're getting dark as fuck. Let's move away.
It's all good.
From
wherever it
shouts
goes.
out to Hunter S.
Man,
Thompson, R.I.P. Hunter, R.I.P. HST. Let's get an R.I.P. HST in the chat, please. Much respect to Hunter S. Thompson.
Yes, sir.
Let's see. When did you start writing things of your own?
Well, I mean, I started like journaling and writing songs as far back as like middle school. But as far as like starting to write stories and stuff, I would say, shit, probably in my, not to age myself here, probably 15 years ago by now.
That's what's up. Like, so short stories and just, you know, journal entries and stuff like that was how it started.
To start with, I actually wrote when I got that first inspiration from Hunter, one of the first things I wrote was a horror novel, which was inspired by a dude I worked with at that factory that wanted me to quit that fucking job and find something else with my life. There was this weirdo dude that worked there that just claimed that he saw ghosts and shit, and he would wear sunglasses all day because it like blocked out ghost or whatever. And he had this hot chick he talked about that I was always with him, that he would like fuck her and stuff. He was weird, but like I took that.
He sounds like
and
an interesting individual. I would love to talk to that dude.
He's the main character of that book. Inspirationally anyway, and it kind of took that, but I never did anything with that book, but I have it still, so I'm still gonna probably break it out and work on it at some point.
Hold on to it and work on it. Yeah. That sounds dope, man. I actually I like that. Let's see. R.I.P. Louis Anderson, R.I.P. Meatloaf too. Yeah. Shouts out
dude, that made me so sad.
Yeah. I'm a big Louis fan.
Louis I wasn't as close to as far as like you know, celebrities and stuff. I liked him he was a Family Feud host, I think, for a while, and then obviously the cartoon Life with Louis.
Yeah, that show, man.
Life with Louis?
Love that. Yeah, Life with Louis was my shit. I love that show.
But Meatloaf, dude. When I was a kid, my parents had the Meatloaf tapes and stuff, and Bat Out of Hell I used to bump that shit, and I would do anything for love. Fucking awesome. Yeah. One of the best videos. You look at like back in the day music videos, it was like a little movie, you know, it was like a Beauty and the Beast type thing, and then fucking Fight Club, you know, Bitch Tits, Bob with Bitch Tits.
His name is Robert Paulson.
His name is Rob. That was a Facebook status for me today.
Yeah, it's getting memed all to hell. Getting memed all to hell. It should. Also, I want to bring up my favorite Meatloaf role is as the dad in Tenacious D's Pick of Destiny. Absolutely. I don't know if you've seen. Yeah, great movie.
Yeah, I've only watched it once, but it was a long time ago.
He plays the dad, and he's like the dad who's coming down on young Jack Black for being a fan of rock and roll, and he's singing in it. Oh, it's really fucking awesome. It's really awesome.
That's classic.
R.I.P. Meatloaf. R.I.P. Louis Anderson. Anyway, depressing. We're getting depressing. Ugh, all this death. All right. What's your writing process like? Like, what do you do when you sit down to start writing? Do you have a glass of? I actually wrote this as a joke, so it's dope that you brought up Hunter as an influence. Do you have a glass of Chivas Regal by your side with your typewriter?
No, I don't. I actually do own a really old typewriter, and I am a whiskey on the rocks guy. But no, I mean, I don't currently smoke weed. I'm taking a little break from it, but usually with a lot of weed is involved. I'll kind of sit down and dick around with the concept a little bit. I have what's called like a dump sheet, where I really just kind of spill out all my ideas and don't try to organize it in any way. I just dump it, right? And then I kind of build an outline off of that, and then kind of go through and bullet point the outline, flesh it out a little bit, and then the rest I just kind of pants it. Stephen King talks about, you know, there's kind of like two kinds of writers. There's like the ones that are kind of really stick to a strict outline, and then there's ones that just kind of fly by the seat of their pants and just almost let the story tell itself. And I'm much more of a pantser. I like to have the story kind of tell itself and see where it goes.
That's what's up, man. So it's like raw notes that you start to outline out, essentially?
Yeah, I'll start with just raw notes, and then I'll outline it and kind of organize it so that I know like what order I want to tell my story in. A lot of times it'll start like that. Other times inspiration will hit me right off the bat, and I'll just get into just writing right away. I'll just start with like chapter one or whatever, and just get right into the story of it. And then that from there, I'll kind of like when I hit a wall, then I'll kind of sit and try to figure out an outline. So kind of depends the way the inspiration hits me on things. I got a lot of stuff that I've like started to write and then didn't finish. A lot of stuff that are is in the process right now. This is my first book that I actually like finished though and published and stuff.
That's what's up, man. Congratulations, by the way. I think it's really dope that you put this
Thank
project
you.
out.
I
Uh,
appreciate that.
yeah, no problem, man. And thanks for coming on. Being a
Thanks for
wrestling fan,
having
I
me.
noticed you peppered a lot of like wrestling terminology and stuff in the book. Um,
Yes.
uh, and Seth, the character, also, or I guess Seth, you also
It's a
mentions
character.
wrestling. Yeah, mentions wrestling. Yeah, I guess we could talk about it like that too, because it is a pen name is a gimmick, if you will. Um,
The
Seth,
character in the book is named after me, but it's not me per se. It is, but it isn't. I wouldn't because it's the book's like it's half fictional storytelling bullshit, and then the other half kind of gonzo journalism. So there's a lot of me in that, but I wouldn't say that it's like exactly me.
um, let's see here. So I forget how I'm trying to think. I have in my notes here that you mentioned wrestling in regards to ICP. I don't remember exactly what that context was though in the book,
I
but
got a lot of wrestling in there. I try to slip in a lot of little references. Some of them just to make myself pop.
you
Just
definitely
because
made me
I'm
pop a
writing
couple
a
with a
book.
couple of them for sure. Anytime the
Yeah,
wrestling
yeah, yeah.
terminology shows up, I'm definitely like, hell yeah, I was fucking with that. Who's your
But I do
wrestling?
talk about JCW and stuff a lot too. There's a scene in the book where my character's tripping on acid pretty good, and I go to check out some JCW stuff. So that's fun.
Yeah, that's I'm going to touch on that a little bit here later.
Yeah.
Who's your wrestling Mount Rushmore though? Who would you put on if you had to pick four wrestlers to carve into stone on the side of a mountain as your wrestling Mount Rushmore?
That's such a hard question because there's also like, do you go by like the biggest box office, like the biggest stars, or just who I think's the most talented, or just my all-time favorites in general? Um,
I would say a good like just all time favorites. Like if you personally had like to do it for yourself, you know what I mean? Like your personal Mount
yeah,
Rushmore.
CM Punk, first and foremost, my fucking hero. One of, like him and Hunter. Ultimate Warrior was what attracted me to wrestling when I was a little kid. So, I mean, talentless as all fuck, but super fun to watch and entertaining as a kid, colorful, rage filled. So I put him up there. Oh, God. You know, probably Macho Man and Undertaker.
Shouts out to the Macho
Honorable
Man shirt,
mention
by
to
the way.
Shawn Michaels. Yes, yes, sir.
All right.
Lots of
Yeah.
favorites, though.
Yeah, man. It's a tough question, I know, but I like to ask them out. Shouts out to I can't remember if it was Whoop Condu who came up with the question or Stony Low, but I love the asking the Mount Rushmore question. Really one of my
Fuck
favorite
yeah.
questions to ask.
And that could
By the way,
change daily. I mean,
mine is Stone Cold Mankind. Jesus fucking Christ. Oh, for fuck's sakes, I'm screwing up. Oh my God, I'm missing one. I'm missing
it's
one.
hard.
I know the last one, but I can't remember one. For fuck's sakes, it'll come to me. It'll come to me. And
Yeah.
Andy Kaufman. It's Andy Kaufman is the one that I like to
Really?
leave for the last. Yeah, Andy
Legit,
Kaufman.
hey? He could get some heat. He was a good talker.
That's one of my favorite things about pro wrestling is heat. I love heat, and
Hmm.
Andy was
Like real
one of the
heat,
fucking
like
best.
riot
Yeah,
inducing heat.
yeah, yeah.
MJF.
That's
I
that
don't know if
shit.
you watch AEW,
Oh
but
yeah, I know
uh,
MGF. I'm a big fan of him for his heat drawing ability for sure.
he's probably the closest to that these days.
Yeah, I love how Andy would work. Like Andy really was good at not breaking kayfabe too, even to the point of ridiculous nature. Love
Yeah.
Andy Kaufman. One of my biggest influences on life with Hunter S. Thompson, up there very high. Um, how did you become a fan of ICP and get introduced to the Juggalo culture?
Um,
Is it similar
exactly
to?
the way exactly the way it's described in the book. There was a kid in class that had in one of my classes that had the Great Malenko CD, and I was really curious about it and asked to borrow it. And once I borrowed it, that was it, dude. Like before that, like I guess during that time, I was into like bad boy for life shit. You know, Mace, P Diddy,
Yeah,
Biggie. When Biggie was still alive or freshly dead, maybe at that time. And then ICP, Great Malenko was a game changer. Once I heard that, it was like there was at that time there was no other music that existed.
yeah. The Great Malenko is the first one I heard too, so I definitely I relate. You're definitely of the same kind of era when I came up. I feel like that book, the book, does capture the vibes of that era, what it felt like to be a juggalo in the vibes of that era really well. Because you do a little bit of a flashback section
Yeah,
to sort of explain your fandom and then explaining going to your first ICP concert. Is that basically what happened at your first ICP concert as well?
yeah. That's exactly how it went too. Yeah,
So
that's
was there a real
100% accurate.
box head? Was there a real box head?
There was a real box head. Yes, he
That's
didn't
fresh as
die.
fuck, man.
He wasn't murdered by anybody, but he did exist. Yeah, he was. We
That's
went
awesome.
to several of the Milwaukee area shows, and he was always a fixture at the Milwaukee shows. And he was always kind of like the rowdy guy out in the parking lot and stuff before the doors open. The guy that would just be, screaming and getting everybody all hyped and throwing Fago around and just being belligerent. So he made the book because of that. And he always wore like I said, he had always had an empty 12-pack box on his head.
That's so crazy, man. I
Yeah,
love that he's a real person. That's awesome. That makes me happy that he's real.
yeah,
Um,
yeah. Yeah.
let's see here. My notes got a little fucking out of order here. Hold on a second.
We can go on
Uh,
order. I don't mind. Shout out to Bang Cotton Candy. They're great.
so I did notice I have this question that reminded me. What's your favorite flavor of Fago?
Man, the candy apple is where it's at. That stuff's
Yeah, I just
so
recently
good.
tried that for the first time. Holy shit, is it crazy
So
good?
good. But I mean, that's kind of newer too, I guess. So if we're talking old school, probably rockin', right?
That's what's up. That's what's up, man. Good picks. Good picks.
Yeah.
Um, let's see. So I have a question here about other. Oh wait. I can't go over this question. What's your favorite Joker's card, and why why the distaste for Hell's Pit?
I just felt like Hell's Pit was an abomination. Like you look at, first of all, like I really buy into that. I don't think it was meant for juggalos. It was because obviously they're the target audience and stuff that are going to buy the CD. But their message, was for the outside world, and it was really just that dark, negative type stuff. And I just wasn't feeling it. And I feel like that's kind of where they started slipping a little bit. I don't know who our audience is. I don't know if people are going to want to throw shit at me through the screen or not, but that's kind of where I started to fall out of love with ICP a little bit.
You mentioned
I
that in the
peaked
book
with,
too.
yeah, I peaked with Shangri-La. To me, that was, a beautiful album and it was great. But after that, I feel like they started slipping for me.
It's interesting because I definitely fell off around the same era. Honestly, Shangri-La, the unveiling was didn't go over well for me. It was a
Really? Were
wet
you one
fart.
of the
It was a
people
wet
that
fart for
heard
me.
that and were like,
I
where you
was
took that in a bad way?
Well, I have a weird relationship with God. I don't know what my relationship with God is at this point, if it really even
Yeah.
exists. I'm trying to get better with that because that's my own wrap up. You know what I mean? Nowadays, I think it's fresh as fuck, but back then, I thought it was a wet fart, man. I don't know. I thought it was like, what the fuck?
It was a
Really?
ballsy
All
move.
this?
It was
Now I see
ballsy for
that.
them to do that.
Now I see how fresh it is. Now I see how positive it is. When you really break it down, how positive that whole album really is in a lot of ways. Like that album, when I got sober from booze, that album helped me a lot. But here's the thing, Hell's Pit, when I was in my really dark, depressed days, like Hell's Pit helped me a lot in weird ways too. So I have a love for that album as well. And I wanted to touch on this. I think that's an interesting thing you brought up with how it kind of fell off a little bit after Hell's Pit. Violent J definitely talks about how he was in a bad fucking place. And like they were both in a bad fucking place during Hell's Pit, and I don't even think he likes Hell's Pit. So I think it's
said the same thing about Dark Lotus too. He didn't like the Dark Lotus
stuff.
era at all.
Yeah, he doesn't like that Tales from the Pit stuff. Really, Tales from the Lotus Pod.
Lotus Pod, yeah.
Yeah, he does not like
Mars version. Mars version. I don't care what anybody says. I love AVK, but Mars version.
Yeah, facts, brother. It's definitely the best version.
Great. That's awesome.
So
I saw Mars live on the Bizarre Bazaar tour, and he was selling CDs at the door, like hand to hand. So I actually got to meet him and bought his Lung Fu Moshi album there, and I was a big Mars fan until he started dissing ICP and kind of became a douchebag. But I was pretty hardcore.
You talk
about Mars.
You mentioned Lung Fu Moshi in the book. That is a fire album. Any Juggalos out there who have not heard that album, go find that album. I don't even know if it's. I think it might be on streaming. I think it is on streaming. It's fucking awesome though. If you like that Dark Lotus red version, go find that album, because there's a whole fucking album of just Mars killing it on that level. Like, it's fucking dope.
Killing it.
And I think Ministry's doing a lot of the music for the beats on that shit, so it's some really interesting fucking sounds he's going for, and it sounds crisp as fuck because it's like a major label budget, I think, on that shit. Great album. I was glad that you brought that up, because it was a fixture of Juggalo culture at that time, but I feel like it has got kind of lost, and a lot of people don't talk about that. Oh, light change. The Undertaker's gonna come out. Oh shit, Taker's in the fucking. Let's see. But remember,
we got it. There we are.
But remember, there can be no right without a left, no back
being
without
powered
a front,
by
no
a laptop, and the laptop just went into like power save mode.
Thank you, Papa, for the Juggalo rabbit wisdom.
But yeah, no, I had to put Lung Fu Moshi in there because I wanted to try to stuff all my Juggalo passion into the book.
You did a good job of it, man. It really brings me back to that era, because that's definitely when I was like a teenager coming up through that whole fucking era, man. Like, it brought me way the fuck back to that shit. I really appreciate it. And thank you for sending me the it was so fun to listen to this at work. It really made my I broke up my listening over 2 work days. I listened to half one day, and then I couldn't finish it because it was like the end of the day. But I was like seriously looking forward to going back to work the next day, just because I was like, shit, I get to listen to that fucking book and finish that shit. So
thank you, I appreciate it. How'd you like the narrator?
He was good. He was. I feel like did he do some research? I feel like he must have listened to some songs.
No, dude, I had to correct him. There was something. Oh yeah, I think he did, because when he
hits the cadence of like my axe, I think at one point
he did. Yep, there's that, and then Jump Steady, when I was quoting the intro to the Wraith, he nailed that perfectly.
Yeah, that's
but there were other parts where he was like mispronouncing names and stuff. I'm like, dude, if Juggalos hear this, they're gonna eat that shit alive. You know what I mean? They're not gonna stand for that. So I tried to correct him.
Have him correct a few things.
I tried to, but a lot of it was just fuck you, whatever. He didn't say that, but he just kind of ignored me. No, he did a great job. I'm very happy with it. I don't think he was like a Juggalo.
I was wondering how much he knew, because he did. I felt like he did do a good job. The things that impressed me was basically him hitting the cadences on the songs. I'm like, oh, he did some research or something.
He must have listened to those.
Yeah, because he nailed the Jump Steady one's a good pull, because he really does nail. He almost does a Jump Steady impression even. Like he goes pretty good on that one. Let's see. You do a really good. Let's see. Wait. See, I'm doing that thing where I get too far ahead. So you mentioned another book that's in the vault, if you will. Were there any other writing jobs or anything leading up to this project? Because this is your first novel, am I correct?
This is my first novel. Like I said, I wrote that horror one pretty much through all the way for a first draft. I got a couple other first drafts that I'm about finalized on that I'm looking to hopefully get out this year. But as far as anything else that was published, here's kind of a deep cut. I actually, for about 2 or 3 months, did articles, a review talking smack for the Pro Wrestling Torch, actually, for Wade Keller. I watched. I did a review of the Talking Smack when that was on.
Yep. Yep. I've
It
listened to
might
that
still be on.
podcast.
I don't fucking know.
Yep.
But yeah, I used to write up just for his website. I wrote up reviews for that for about 3 months, and
That's
then
what's up, man.
yeah.
So, what were your goals going into this project? And how did it get started?
Honestly, like I wanted to test the waters for putting out a book, start to finish. Fully like writing one to completion, publishing it, and I knew enough about the Juggalo world and had enough to say about it to where I knew I would be able to get this one finished for sure. You know what I mean? Um, so it was kind of like I knew the material. I knew it had a built-in fan base that I could market to directly, so I didn't have to kind of go looking for who's going to buy this book. So that was kind of my North Star, if you will, to kind of guide the production of the book.
So here is the book on Amazon, by the way, for people who were curious about going and buying it. There's a paperback
5-star rated, by
available.
the way.
Oh yeah, I need to
5-star
put my
rated.
rating in. I put my rating in on Audible after I listened. I don't know if that factors into this one, but
Thank you. No, they are separate.
Yeah, I figured it probably is a completely separate thing. All that Audible shit is separate.
They're owned
yeah,
by, I think Amazon owns Audible, but they keep it separate.
yeah, it's definitely the same thing. I don't know why they make it a pain in the ass like that. Anytime I've had to buy an audiobook, it's been really a pain in the ass. Shouts out to Juggalo audiobooks though. There's not enough of them really. So
yeah, I don't think there's any. If you type Juggalo into Audible, I think it's the only book that pops up.
Well, it used to be Behind the Paint was one, but it's actually pulled from
that's right.
services as well.
It's pulled? I own it. I bought that one on audio. So I think if I own it doesn't go away, right?
Yes. Yeah, I bought it and it's in my library for sure. So if you bought it, you still own it, but it got pulled. Good. You can't buy it anymore. So thank God at least they don't pull it from the fucking library, because that would be
love it.
That's one of the reasons I'm a proponent of physical media, because I don't like the fact that they can pull stuff from the library, if you will.
And edit it and change it.
Yeah.
I was just hearing that there was some wrestling, like some WrestleManias that they went back and kind of edited some stuff out of, and it's like, unless you own it, you can't go on the network and just watch it because you're gonna miss shit that was there originally.
Yeah, changing music, a lot of that network version stuff is just, it doesn't hit the same.
Exactly.
Let's see. You do a really good job of capturing the feeling of being at a gathering and just like walking around a gathering, like just that kind of feeling of almost, I don't want to say senseless, but almost just like wandering sometimes around the gathering, because it's like it's like, all right, what are we gonna do? Let's go for a walk type of thought. Because I'm one of my biggest things that I like to do is walk around the gathering. That's like basically my vibe is I'm just kind of walking around that bitch the whole time. So I appreciated that. I appreciated let's see, I should, before I even go there, any fun, crazy gathering story that you have that's not in the book that you'd like to share?
No, I think I stuffed them all into the book. I made a point to sneak them all in.
Are real?
Most, like I said, I'd say the book's about half fiction, half gonzo journalism. So there's definitely a lot of real shit in there, and then a lot of it's just made up for fun.
I don't want to spoil anything, but I gotta ask: is the Confederate flag story a real story?
No, I made that up.
No, because I'm like, there's no way that fucking Juggalos let a Confederate flag get hung the fuck up without tearing that shit down themselves and causing an issue.
Well, that was the point. Our crew was gonna be the ones that were gonna cut that bitch down. So that was kind of the fun of it. I kind of wanted to take just the fact that there are people that steal shit out of people's tents and stuff. That has happened in the past. So I wanted to take that and kind of put a story into that. And I wanted to put a little action and adventure into the book too. And that was a good spot to do it. The little mission that we put together to get that fucking flag.
And it's dope because, what better villain, what better heel to a Juggalos than some fucking Confederate flag rednecks motherfuckers. So I like that too.
Yes.
Shit. I was gonna go somewhere. Oh,
what's funny about it though is somebody, before you get to the next one, there was somebody left in one of the comments on Amazon maybe or Audible somebody mentioned that they remember that rebel flag, and I was just like, I don't know, I just made that up completely. So if there was somebody there that had that, I mean, I don't know,
Wild.
could be a Wicked Dubs situation where,
No, the
you
Wicked Dub,
know.
I don't think was like that. No, Wicked Dub was a good
No,
guy, I
not
think.
that he had it, but just another thing that I
Oh,
pulled out of my ass
it
that
was something
actually
that really did
existed in
happen.
real life. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Interesting. Interesting. So I wanted to speak
I don't
on though,
know.
unsavory types that show up at the gathering too, because there definitely are people who show up at gatherings looking to make money off of, selling drugs and shit like that, who have nothing to do with the Juggalo culture, or even people that I think some people even show up to maybe just sort of sightsee, it feels like.
Yes.
And they're pretty easy to spot out sometimes. Uh there's a really ugly situation where I saw a guy taking a selfie and Snapchat footage of someone who was having a seizure in the pit at the gathering, and he was Snapchatting
And
it.
just watched them and didn't
Yeah, I
help or
thought like
anything.
and sending it to his friends and shit. That was
That's fucked
one of
up.
the ugliest things that I saw at the gathering of the Juggalos. I saw very few really truly ugly things at the gathering of the Juggalos last year, but that was one of the most ugly things I've seen. But that was a tourist. That confirmed in my
Yeah.
mind that that was a tourist. And I
Yep.
definitely watched him a little bit more after that. I'm like, yeah, that dude, he ain't no fucking Juggalo. He's here just to like
Yeah,
people
Juggalo
watch and
wouldn't do
shit.
that, dude. They're gonna
Yeah,
help people out.
yeah. Well, that's the thing. Everyone around that person was helping and screaming for help, and trying to get them to stop playing, because I think forget who was playing, but it was very loud. And it was in the middle of the fucking pit, so it was a very scary situation. Person did get help, by the way. I don't know what that ended up happening
That's
to them,
good.
but they did get pulled out of there. But yeah, the gathering can be a very strange place at times, and I feel like you do with what we talked a little about the LSD trip. I feel like that highlights some of the vibes sometimes can come off weird at the gathering of the Juggalos. Not all the times, but you definitely can pick up off weird vibes off of people like fella who's with the Snapchat in the pit that I'm referring to.
Yeah.
So let's see. So you put a lot of reality in this. I was my question was, you said this was a
Yes.
mix of real experiences and fiction, but it seems to me you put a lot of reality in this thing.
Mostly, yeah. I would say honestly, it's like I would say the story itself is what's fiction, and like pretty much everything that happened, ICP related gathering, concerts, that kind of stuff, was all reality, or for the most part reality. Maybe spiced up a little bit for the sake of the story, but anything about the story itself, the actual tale that's being told throughout the book is the work of fiction, but kind of everything else around it happened for the most part.
So this is a really good question. Yakima Juggalo in the chat here has asked, have you as the author thought about bringing your book and selling it at the gathering of the Juggalos?
I would fucking love to. Truth be told, I'm kind of a broke ass. Not, I mean, I'm okay, but like, it's hard to take the vacation time off of work and the expense. I got kids and stuff, so like the expense
Yeah.
to get the ticket and go. A lot of my friends have kind of grown out of the Juggalo stuff too, so I'd probably end up going by myself or something. I would love to. I thought about trying to reach out to Psychopathic and see if I can even like maybe get a booth or something. I don't know if that would work. I don't fucking know, but it'll
There's
probably
definitely
happen
like an artist
someday.
row. There's definitely an artist row of Juggalos who are there, and there's plenty of people who just set up at their campsite. You don't really
Yeah,
need um, the official psychopathic stamp of approval, if you will. You can definitely set up and make a really good hustle on your own. My homie Cherry Pie had some friends who were just selling art at the gathering. They brought a lot of
hmm
paintings, and I believe by the second or third day, they were sold out of all the paintings they brought. So yeah, you can definitely do it. You can definitely, like, if
I
you have an
probably should.
artistic hustle, you can get that off. And that's one of my favorite things about the gathering, honestly, is the
Yes,
artistic hustle. I want to try to highlight that more next year when I do the gathering documentary stuff.
I always
You were
worry
at
about too, like how Juggalos are gonna take the book because
mm,
it's a story. It's not just I love ICP, I still love ICP. The end. You know what I mean? There's kind of
yeah,
a like the very first sentence of the book. I'll spoil it. Matter of fact, I have the full first chapter available on YouTube. So if people want to kind of sample the book without buying it or whatever and see if it's for them, I kind of feel like the first chapter is sort of like a microcosm of the whole book. So if you like the
What's the
first chapter, you're
YouTube
gonna like
channel?
the
What's the
book.
YouTube channel? Get that off real quick.
URL would be United Underworld Media, YouTube/United Underworld Media.
That's what's up.
I got a lot of my older music and stuff on there too, if you want to dig around older podcasts. But I do reviews. I reviewed the Spider-Man and Scream movie. That's on there. But I got the first full chapter of the book is on there too. But what I was going to say is the first sentence is "I hate juggalos." So it's like I worry that somebody's going to open it up and be like, "This motherfucker," like how dare he come to the gathering and is trying to peddle this book where he says I hate juggalos. So.
Yakima Juggalo says, I read the book and enjoyed it. Made me feel like I was at the gathering. My wife and I have attended many. I think you would get a lot of love, man. I think people would realize like after reading it, like, oh, it's a character. Like obviously, like it's but yeah, I can understand
I hope
your
so.
apprehension.
I'm telling a story. Yeah. I'm telling because you got to take that ride. It's kind of that journey of being sucked back into the Juggalo culture after being out of it for a little bit. Yakima, by the way, you left a review. I am aware of you, and I appreciate your review. Mad love to you, sir.
Yeah, shouts out to Yakima. Shouts out to Yakima, man. That one traveler guy who was selling his book last year. Who was that? I don't remember that one, Wukanda. All juggalos are so beautiful and creative. Shouts out to Wukanda with that sentiment. I definitely appreciate that.
Absolutely, that's
Wait,
true.
here we go. Last year, my homie Stephen Roof sold his Diary of a Drifter book and even gave Shaggy Two Dope a copy. If he can do it, so can you. And shouts
Right
out
on.
to J-Web, another Juggalo author who I don't know if J-Web was selling his book at the gathering, but J-Web definitely was at the gathering. At the info tent, I went to go say hello to him. Yeah, shouts out to Juggalo authors. There are a few of them out there, believe it or not.
I think I got to then. I got to make it to a gathering
Yeah, I think you should
push
try
the
to,
book.
man. It's the gathering of dreams too. So what more appropriate gathering to do it at? Yeah,
There
that's
you
the
go.
guy I was talking about. Okay. That's the guy that the same guy that Papa here was talking about, Stephen Roof. I see, I see. Awesome. Let me continue with my line of questions. I think we're almost wrapping up. It's hard to tell with these
Right on.
questions of mine. Oh, here. So some of the other characters, Spike, Spider, Pumpkin, are these real people or facsimiles of several people or?
Exactly, the second one. They're mashups of a couple different people that I know for sure.
The author.
Spike is a mix of like two of my close friends that I had in high school, and the Spider and Pumpkin are based on very real people. The Tommy D character is kind of an amalgamation of a few different people. But yeah, absolutely.
That's kind of the vibe I got, that those might be like mishmash, amalgamations is the word. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
that's the
yeah.
good word for it. Trevor the dead body though, is that another
Yes,
situation? Is he
he's a
based off
real
of a real?
person.
He's a real.
Nope,
That's
he's a
fresh
real
as fuck.
person. Yep, he's my homie Trent actually. We didn't find him at the campground. There was somebody that we found at the campground just laying there, so I kind of took that. One of the kids we were camping with, the person that Spider was kind of based off of, was poking him with a stick and shit. So I put that in the book. But then I took that and I just mixed it with my buddy Trent. Shout out to Trent. He actually read through a rough draft of the book and told me that it was good and worth putting out. So I love him so much. He's a good kid. But
That's
yeah,
a dope
yeah,
character.
definitely
That's a really dope
inspired by
character.
a real person.
I
Yeah, he
like
was the
his
kind
inclusion.
of I needed that character because the Seth character is such a salty, kind of jaded character. Always got a negative outlook on shit. So I wanted to balance that out. The Trevor the Dead Body is very much like
He's
a
a bright light. He's a
happy.
loving bright light.
Exactly. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, I really love the character, and I have to say, after listening to the audiobook, the performance, the way that the man performs, homie, saying the word homie, I can't. anytime I've said the word homie over the past few weeks, I think of Trevor the Dead Body and that performance in the audiobook.
Oh, that's
So
awesome.
I just wanted to
That's
shout
awesome.
out the narrator there for his performance as Trevor the Dead Body.
Yeah.
So you
The
chose a
Canadian
really
guy,
sorry.
the Canadian guy in the book, he's loosely based off the guy that put you on to me, Super A.
Oh, hey, that's
Loosely
what's up. He
based off
said
it.
he
He's a
was
mix
saying
of a couple
earlier
people, but that's part of him.
he was saying earlier that a lot of the stories are real in the chat here. Yakima also said you should try to get in touch with Scotty D of Fago Lovers. Scotty might be able to help you get a booth. So I just wanted to
I
throw
have.
that out there.
Well, I haven't asked him about that, but I have run a few ads on Fago Lovers. Scotty did say that he read the book and liked it. So I've been trying to get an interview with his ass. He told me he would, and then he just never followed up. So I assume he's busy. He's got better things to do. But yeah,
Yeah, I would just hit him
he's
up
aware.
again. Scotty's a nice guy in
Just
my
keep bugging
experience,
him
man.
about it. I see. I don't like to bug people
Just hit
too.
him with
You
a
know.
reminder email. It's not bugging him. Just hit him with the reminder email. He's probably got a lot of stuff going on.
Yeah,
But yeah,
fair enough.
Scotty's a nice guy who definitely is just trying to help Juggalos. So I would definitely try to hit him again.
Yeah, he's
Shouts out
very
to
cool.
Emily in the chat. J Webb was not selling his book, just working. That's what I thought, Yakima. Shouts out to J Webb anyway, another Juggalo author. He's going to be writing the official ICP biography, it seems. So that's
That's
really
awesome.
dope. Yeah. So you chose a really interesting gathering to set this at. It was a gathering where a couple of infamous things happened.
Yes. Yeah.
The
Kind of
first
why I
of which
picked it.
being the Tila Tequila incident.
Mm-hmm.
Were you at this gathering? And how many gatherings have you
Yes.
attended?
I was at probably at 6 of them,
That's fresh. I've only
and that
been to
was
2, so I'm a
There were the
gathering
earlier ones, but
baby.
I haven't been to any of them since then at all. So it's been years since I've been to a gathering. You know, I had kids after that, so it was kind of just like before that we used to go to concerts and shit all the time, but now it's just with kids and work. It just hasn't worked out for me. But yeah, that one in particular was quite the gathering.
Excuse me. Oh my god. So the Tila Tequila incident, you were at that gathering?
Yes, sir.
Did you witness that go down?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yep.
Holy shit.
Everything I wrote about in the book was there. I don't know that the trailer stuff. I take like I said, I take a little bit of liberty, spice things up a little bit, but for the most part, it
They
happened.
were going at that trailer pretty crazy from the video footage I've seen of it, so I don't think that's much of an exaggeration at all. The other
But I could
crazy
talk
thing that
about
happened.
people rappelling down from the trees and popping up through the stage like
Oh
the
yeah,
Undertaker coming through the ring and stuff. So I
that part
spice it up a
maybe.
little bit like that.
That part, yeah. You do that. I'll bring that up too. You do that a couple of times throughout the book where you get a little bit fanciful, if you will, with it, over exaggerate to.
Yeah.
I really appreciate those parts because you can tell. To me, you could tell what you were doing was, oh, he's exaggerating again. He's doing that thing again. You do it a few times throughout the book, and I don't want to spoil it, but you do it quite a bit at the end too.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to bring that up as well. The other crazy
Without
thing that
spoiling
happened.
the end, could you just tell me, just of your own opinion, did I stick the landing on the ending, or did it fall
I
flat?
liked it. I liked the ending.
Awesome.
I definitely like the ending. I don't want to say too much about it, but
No.
I don't want to say too much about it because my opinion about it would be ruining some of the impact of it. So, but I liked it. I would say it's a good ending. I liked it a lot.
Cool.
It's not it's maybe not what you would expect, but it's a good ending. That's what I would say about it without spoiling it. Some strange things going on in the chat. So the other crazy thing that happened at that gathering was Twisted was supposed to perform and came out and just played their record to the crowd. Apparently, I think Monoxide was going through some mental health issues or something at that year, and that's why that happened. I'm not quite sure. That's speculation.
There had to be something. I speculate on it in the book what it might be. But there had to have been something going on. I kind of thought maybe it was the start of like maybe them beefing, having some kind of dispute with ICP about money or something. But maybe it was just mental health stuff. I don't know. That was some bitch shit. But it was weird because half the people there were like, "Oh yeah, this is awesome. We love it. You know, whatever Twisted does is super cool." But to me, it was like there were so many people that were like, I came here from. There were people from other countries that came there. They don't like Twisted doesn't tour Canada and fucking Australia and shit like that. So people come to the gathering, they need to see Twisted. That's part of it, and for them to do that, it's just
Yeah, there's definitely people
so,
who were spending their hard-earned cash and taking vacation time and traveling large distances to see Twisted,
yep,
because Twisted, big part of the fandom as well,
yep.
which you do highlight greatly in that book. And I like that you talk about the split a little bit. While I just brought it up, what are your thoughts about the whole split situation and what's going on with that thing? Because it's unfortunate in my opinion.
I think it's sad, yeah, because I think it hurt both sides. I think ICP is having a kind of a renewed popularity. I think they're kind of set in pop culture for life, and
Yeah,
they're really
I
like
agree.
they're on the podcast circuit a
They're
lot now.
iconic
They're doing
at this point.
streaming. Shaggy and the Creep is blowing up, so they're really doing a lot of big things. They're very relevant, but I think overall it hurt the power of the label. They do have undercard artists like Ouija Mac and stuff, but they don't have that killer roster where it was stacked, Twisted, Blaze, Boondocks, and all those people. And I don't think Magic Ninja's as big as they could be either. I think it kind of hurt everybody. And it divided the Juggalos, and that's not fair to them either, making them, choose between mom and dad. That's not cool.
Yeah, it's unfortunate, but I think to really move past it, I think both sides have to kind of grow up a little bit, and I think unfortunately, I think what hurts the whole situation a lot is some of the actions Twisted did, like not marching and shit like that, is really going to be tough. I think a big step. I've said this before. I think a big step would just be simply apologizing for not marching. I think that would be a great, because I think they must know that that was the wrong thing to do, and that they were wrong with saying it was like a publicity stunt. Where they were right, because even fucking ICP was like, yeah, bitch, it is a publicity stunt. What do
Yeah.
you think a protest is? So I think that would be a great step in the right direction, but that's a whole thing we can get into forever and
Juggalos
ever,
are
and I don't
just
want
as
to.
much their fan base as ICPs, and I think that's where they're not by doing something like that. They're not putting over ICP. They're putting it down for the Juggalos, who are their biggest supporters. So, I can see where they wouldn't want to have done that or want to kind of separate themselves from that, but it did definitely hurt them with the Juggalos.
Yeah, yeah, it did not have the intended effect, I think, for anybody. I think at the end of the day, I
Yeah,
think that's what's really kind of shitty about it. Um, let's see. You mentioned working at a cable company in the book, and some really shitty selling tactics over the phone. Is that real shit?
yeah, yeah,
God
that
damn
happened.
it.
I ended up quitting
God
that job
damn,
because
that's
I couldn't
rough.
do it. I didn't
I,
quit the
I
way I
don't
quit
blame
in the
you.
book, but I quit.
Yeah, that's rough. I got the feeling that it was real shit. Uh, but goddamn, that's rough. Um, let's see. The domestic stuff was really powerful in the book. Sort of
Yeah.
unexpected, I'll be honest with you.
Mm-hmm.
Did you debate over keeping that in there?
Yes and no. I think I always knew I wanted it in there. I wanted to keep it in there. It's not real, by the way. I mean, I guess loosely inspired, but not to that extent. It didn't, that's not necessarily a real thing, but I think it was important for the character. Um, to kind of, it's part of
The
the
character is really
path to
not a good
redemption.
guy in a lot of ways. You
Exactly.
really
He's a,
lean in
mhm.
to his negativity, his he's really got a shitty attitude for a lot of the
Yes,
book.
yes,
It gets better. It gets
yeah.
better as things go on, and it is sort of a transformative story, but the motherfucker is definitely a salty vagina for a lot of the book.
That's the story I wanted to tell because it's that path to redemption. It's telling the story how he gets from that jaded, salty kind of douchebag to kind of learning from all of that and kind of starting fresh and becoming a new person. And I wanted the gathering and the Juggalo culture to kind of be the what inspired him to change. So.
And I think you do get that off at the end as well, I'll say, without spoiling it too much, I hope. Um, the character, yeah, I had that. I already said that. I just hit that sentiment. Look at me already hitting those sentiments. So have you ever really been pulled over at going to the gathering or around the gathering or anything?
No, I mean, I've been pulled
Oh,
over plenty of times, and we've been searched. I come from a small town where the cops just thought it was fun to fuck with high school kids, pull them over, search them, pat them down, fuck with them. So that kind of situation has happened, but it didn't happen on the way to the gathering.
I've been really lucky. I've never been pulled over going to the gathering or even around the gathering. And I'll be honest with you, I was leaving Legend Valley last year like 4 or 5 a.m. going to my hotel. I don't drink anymore, so I'm like sober as a judge driving home. I don't have anything to worry about. But I definitely am on edge because I don't want to waste my time. I want to go to fuck to sleep. You know what I mean? So I'm
Yeah,
like, oh shit, there's going to be cops all posted out there. And Legend Valley in Ohio, there was nobody out there. It was clear sailing, no cops at all. 4 or 5 a.m. at the gathering of the Juggalos. So shouts out to
yeah,
Ohio for not fucking with Juggalos too much, it seems. I think that's one of the reasons Psychopathic and ICP like Ohio and want to go back there. Um,
yeah.
but yeah, I was curious if you actually were pulled over going to the gathering.
No.
Let's see here. You capture the fellowship of the gathering really well. The times when they're just kind of hanging around the camp, uh, smoking bowls and stuff like that, if you will. You capture that really well. Just wanted to give you props for that.
Thank you.
And I think I already have the answer to this next question. Have you made lifelong friends from going to the gathering?
I have. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Shouts out to Trent, aka Trevor.
Yeah, shout out to Trent. The loosely based Spider and Pumpkin characters, their friends that I met there too. Um, so yeah.
That's why you don't leave camp this time. I'm gonna be walking around even if I do camp. That's the thing, Whoopconda. That's the thing. Farco Ohio. We got a Farco Ohio from Emily. Oh boy. And whoop whoop to Rozelle in chat. I see you. All right. We're wrapping up the questions now. I can tell I'm finally getting to the end of this list. We're a little bit
That's
over an
good because I
hour.
just got a notice on my phone that I'm at about 20%
Okay,
battery life, and my microphone's plugged
let me
into my
go through
phone.
this.
So yeah,
I think it
we'll
let's see,
go
I
till it
hit
dies.
the
It's cool.
I want to give you props for the title Electric Fago Acid Trip. That's a really fresh
Thank you.
title. Shouts out to Tom Wolfe and the Merry Pranksters. Are you a proponent of psychedelics?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
Shouts out to
They're fun.
psychedelics as well. Um, have you ever seen a gangbang at the gathering of the Juggalos?
No, no, I have not witnessed
Dang
a
it.
gangbang at the gym.
Fingers crossed for this year. Fingers crossed. Juggalo thirst at the gathering is real, ladies and gentlemen.
Dude, all of that's legit as fuck. The thirst at the end, dude. Oh my god,
Yo,
that was one of the.
yo, that thirst is crazy that last day. It is intense, doggy.
Water
Yeah.
is gold. Water is gold at the gathering on
Yeah.
that last
I'm
day.
talking about the sexual thirst, but that thirst as well.
Oh yeah, yeah. No, no, no. Yeah, the Juggalettes, dude. Oh my god, some of the best.
Shouts out to the juggalos and juggalettes out there. All the juggalos and juggalettes
Dude.
out there. Um, let's see. The merch tent was closed that year. There's a section where you mentioned going to the merch tent and it was closed.
I don't. Probably wasn't real. I think at that point, the character was kind of. He was on his without spoiling too much. I wanted to kind of give the feeling of being alone and empty. So like everywhere he tried to go or everywhere he was, there was nobody there for him. You know what I mean?
Because that was definitely a moment where I'm
Like
like, there's no way they closed that merch tent.
yeah, that was probably
I
just a
know
story.
psychopathic.
Yeah, they got to sell those shirts for sure. I mean, it's possible it was, but I don't think it was inspired by that. It was just more
All
of,
right,
back
I
at the
was just curious
campsite.
because
There's
I
no
was
one
like,
at the campsite. There's no one at this. There's no one at that. I'm just kind of wandering alone, and that kind of just goes into the storytelling.
um, the poop shower scene. That shit happened to me too. Did that really happen to you?
No, not exactly like that, but the
That
showers were
literally
gross as
happened to me.
fuck.
Dog, I felt like you were describing my experience showering in 2019. That almost that literal story, dude. Almost that literal
Uh,
story was what happened to me. Add in a fellow who dropped his bag of powdery substance outside of And that's the exact thing that happened to me, damn near down to a T, man. So you
Oh,
nailed the vibes on showering at the gathering, for
the showers are
sure.
gross as fuck. Yeah, I just
Yeah,
wanted to make it extra gross.
I showered with a turd in the drain, and the shower head was broken, so it was just spraying like a fucking hose on me. It was just like the open heads just spraying like a fucking hose. Shouts out to that
Yeah.
shower. That was one of the strangest showers I've ever taken. Um, let's see. You mentioned ICP as high strangeness. Um, do you think ICP attracts paranormal activity? This is one of my crazy off the wall questions, which
That's a good
I do get.
question.
This is a theory of
I
mine,
think
by the way. I will
I
throw that
think
out there. I
because
do believe they do.
I think they're very spiritual, and I think that attracts paranormal activity because of the open mindedness towards the paranormal and spiritual side. I think is what kind of will open the door to that. So yeah, I think they do in a roundabout way because of that. And
And
I do
without
think
spoiling it, oh, continue. I'm
I was
sorry.
going to say I do think there is a real element of magic to ICP, or at least there was in that initial Joker's card run. There was really like a spiritual element to it for sure.
And without spoiling it, I feel like the way you do the ending too, the concert stuff, uh, sells that as well in a way. The magic.
Yeah.
Without spoiling it too much. Dancing around it, trying to at least.
Yeah, no, that's
Um,
great. You're doing good. Thank you.
Legs Diamond. Did Legs Diamond introduce ICP that year? Is that something that really
Yeah, they
happened, or
did.
is that? See, that's
Yep,
so interesting
yeah,
to me.
he did.
Steve-O must
He
have
was
been full of
dressed up
shit.
as like he was dressed up as like a ringleader, like the top hat, kind of like the ringmaster. Not he wasn't dressed as the ringmaster, but he was a ringmaster for that.
That's fresh
That
as
it
shit.
happened exactly the way it was described.
So Steve-O was at this last year's gathering, introduced ICP, and he said something that like ICP never gets introduced, and I'm like, that can't be true. That seems hard to believe that ICP's never been introduced by anybody ever. Like, so I
I
was
think
like
that's
that.
false.
Yeah, I just wanted to ask about that because it stuck out in my brain because of that weird Steve-O claim. Um, let's see. You're really good at describing the feeling of watching ICP live. You did mention the spiritualness of it. You think that's how you describe it in the book as well.
Yeah.
I get that feeling when I see them, honestly. When was your last show? When was the last time you've seen them?
Oh shit. Bangkok Boom Tour. So a
Wow,
long
so it's
time
been a
ago.
hot minute. It's been a hot minute. You
Hot
got to go to
minute.
the
Yep.
gathering if you
Yep.
can, brother. You gotta. If you can make it, I would love to see you there, man. I hope I get to see you there.
If I go, I'll hit you up and let you know that I'm going for sure, and we'll
I would
meet
love
up
to
there. Yeah.
interview you at the gathering, especially if you're selling your book,
Fuck
because
yeah.
that would be a great way to get
Yes.
off the Juggalo hustle that I was talking about, and you can talk
Yes.
about your book. I would love to do that. So I wanted to shout out. I've been thinking about this a little bit, but I put this in my notes today, sort of as on the whim thing. This book gives me Stand By Me vibes, and you did mention Stephen King earlier. I don't know why exactly it gives me Stand By Me vibes, but it does get, or The Body. Shouts out to The Body, the actual story that Stand By Me is based off of. But yeah, I just wanted to throw that out there and sort of give you those flowers real quick.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Great book though. Highly recommended to Juggalos and even people curious about the gathering of the Juggalos. I would give it 5 out of 5 kitchen knives, which, by the way, I forgot to review on the last interview I did, the Others Project. I would give that 5 out of 5 kitchen knives as well. So what's next? Another Jug book? Something completely different?
As far as Juggalo books, I had one. I mean, I don't know when it'll come out, but I would like to tackle the topic of the Juggalo Civil War. The split between Twisted and ICP as more not fictionalized, but more of a biographical. I'd like to kind of tackle that from a journalistic perspective at some point, but no, I think I'm just going to keep trucking in other fictional stories. I got a couple other things I'm working on. Even got a children's book I'd like to do and stuff like that. So I'm going to spend a lot of time writing this year and hopefully get at least 1 or 2 more books cranked out there. but completely different topics for the most part.
Hell yeah, man.
Same
Well, if you do,
style, same presentation.
You're more than welcome to come on here and talk about them again, new projects and
Awesome.
stuff.
I would
It's been nice
appreciate
talking with
that.
you.
Yeah, this is awesome.
So any plugs other than the book?
Yeah, I'll get to those. I did also want to say, dude, if you want, like, this is fun. If you ever want to just chew on some Juggalo conspiracy stuff, I'd love to come and kick it on that. It's kind of bring it back to the beginning too. If you just need to
Well,
bounce
I
stuff
tried to
off
do a
of.
stream like that once where I had a few people lined up, but it kind of fell through and it wasn't exactly what I
Yeah,
planned out. But I've been talking about doing it again because I want to do a whole stream where it's people who come on and talk about because there was a fellow who actually approached me and said that he had a paranormal experience at this last year's gathering. He wanted to come on here and talk about it, but I don't know if he wants to talk
yeah.
about it anymore. But
Any talking head, anything you need a talking head for, I'd love to come back on. But as far as plugs, I'm having fun on TikTok these days. I just got on there, so I can be found on TikTok, Twitter, and Facebook at Seth Grimes Media. All of them are at Seth Grimes Media. The YouTube is going to be United Underworld Media, and I'm going to be trying to crank out a lot of content this year. The book, The Gathering, A Bold Journey into the
let's
Belly of
pull
the
that up again.
Juggalo Underworld. 5-star rated. You can find that on Amazon in paperback. You can buy it on Kindle if you do tablets and stuff, or if you're, prefer audio, it is on Audible as well. And I'll drop this knowledge here. Amazon just introduced a hardcover option. So I am going to try to do a re-release this summer around gathering time in a hardcover edition. I don't think anything will be different about it, but maybe I'll add a little extra content to it or something. Make it worth the while to get the hardcover. But
Nice, man.
yeah, you can find it anywhere you can buy books, except in stores, of course. You're not
Well,
going to find it at
I'm gonna
Barnes
try
and
to
Noble.
support. I'm gonna try to support and buy that hardcover because I'm a fan of physical media, and I definitely prefer a hardcover over a soft cover. So
Yeah,
I was.
hardcover's way better. I'm surprised Amazon hasn't had it before, but I got stoked when they sent out an email saying it was available now. So.
Oh, and I do want to mention it is a rather quick listen in regards to audiobook lengths. It's
About
like
six and
just
a half hours.
6.5 hours. So that's pretty good for audiobook lengths. So it's not that
Yeah.
intimidating for people who are like, oh, I don't want to sit down and listen to something for 10, 11, 12
Everybody
hours, whatever.
I'm not the best judge of my own stuff, but most feedback I've gotten is it's very smooth, easy read through. Whether you're reading or listening, it flows really well and just it's easy to get through. It's not
It's
daunting
great.
or
I think that
difficult or
honestly,
anything.
and once again, I'll give the narrator some props. I think the narrator is really good because I've listened to some trash ass narrated books. So I think you got
Yeah,
a really good narrator. Especially
thank
because he
you.
did
He's
nail
awesome.
some Juggalo shit where I was like, damn, he did that. I didn't think he would be able to do that, but he did that.
I like him. Yeah, he's great.
Yeah,
He
did a good
he
job.
he
What's
brought
his
it to
name?
the next
Shout out his
level.
name. Do you know his name
His name
offhand?
is Henry. Yep, Henry Schrader is his name. He's the shit. I did try to narrate it myself at one point. I'm like, that's just I don't have the voice for it or the cadence for it. But man, he brought it to the next level. So
Yeah, he
shout
did a
out to
great
Henry
job.
Schrader.
He did character work and everything. Really, really, I think a well done audiobook. He did a great job.
Yeah,
Here we go. If you, the author, go to the gathering, sell your book, put the book cover on a shirt and slang some shirts, bandanas, mouse pads for computers, the
there
book on
you
a thumb
go.
drive.
Hustle.
Yeah, he's this guy. Yakima's really thinking. Yakima's really thinking.
Fuck yeah.
Yakima, were
Thank
you
you,
the one
Yakima.
that told me about the paranormal thing? Did I confuse you with the other Yak? I might have confused my Yaks here. Were you the one that we're talking about the paranormal thing, Yakima? While I have you in here. If you are, say
Thumb
so,
drive.
man.
That's a
I
great
might have
idea too.
confused my Yakimas because there's another fella on YouTube who's a juggalo named Yakelby. So I might have confused my Yaks.
The
Who knows?
flash drive thing, I love that though. Like I wouldn't have even thought of that. So I'm definitely gonna take that idea.
Yeah, let's put that back up there again. Flash drive as a thumb drive as an audiobook. Yeah, that's definitely because that's how they released
Great.
Behind the Paint as well. It was a flash drive. That's definitely a good idea. Maybe try to get a fresh like little housing for it or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. So Seth, thank you for joining me. This has been a great interview. Definitely
Yeah. Thank
I'm
you
having
so much
fun.
for having me. I
Hey, no
appreciate it.
problem, brother. Thank you for joining me. Yeah, hopefully we'll have you on again, talking about more Juggalo related art and culture and shit and conspiracy theories. Because that would be a really
Sounds
juicy.
great.
I guess I'm gonna have to try to organize a panel stream and have you on as because I want to have multiple people on just talking about weird Juggalo shit. Like I want to get really fucking weird. Like so it sounds like you're into that. So we should definitely plan on
Yeah.
doing that sometime.
Yeah, man. I'll be your talking head anytime you need one for whatever you
Hey
got.
brother, thank you for joining me. I really appreciate you, man. Whoop
Thank
whoop.
you. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, no
Appreciate you. Whoop
problem.
whoop. Thanks for everybody watching too. Thank you.
Have a good
Thank
night,
you.
everybody.
Yakima. Thanks for the review.
I'm
Peace.
gonna try to stream tomorrow night as well. So join the Humble Among broadcast system. Oh wait, I definitely am streaming tomorrow night. We have a guest. That's right. I almost slept on my guest for tomorrow night. I have a special guest. C Rocks will be in the building for the Humble Among broadcast system stream. I will be doing an interview with him about being a teacher who is also a rapper and that side hustle, because I think that's an interesting side hustle. So shouts out to C Rocks. Go listen to his project, Pineapple Snoozin' and oh man, Pineapple Jacuzzis. Hold on, I gotta get his fucking project right. I'm gonna botch the name. Oh, where's your interview, homie? Pineapple. Hold on, I gotta look it up on Spotify real quick. Sorry for the dead air, folks. We're wrapping it up anyway. It doesn't really matter. Summer Snoozing and Pineapple Jacuzzis. That's the name of his EP. Go check that out. Really interesting, really interesting piece of I would almost call it nerd rap, I guess. But yeah, tune in for an interview with C Rocks and the regular Humble Among broadcast system shit where I'll just be talking yeah, about whatever. Oh, we're gonna be talking about the
Hey, I love what
Hammerstein.
you do, man. I love
Thank you.
what you do. I appreciate you doing all that for us artists and stuff. That's great.
Hey, I'm trying to do that a lot more this year. That's one of the reasons I'm so glad you reached out and reminded me to get up on that fucking book, because that led to this. And yeah, hopefully more cool interviews. So definitely I have a very exciting one I want to tease. Once again, I teased it earlier on the unboxing stream. I got to get this off. I have a very exciting interview next Friday. I will be joined, fuck it, I'm going to say it, by Devereaux, the producer, Devereaux. Ouija Mac producer, Insane Clown Posse producer, Darby O'Trill producer. So join me for an interview with Devereaux. I'm a big fan. Oh yeah, and Humble Among producer. The motherfucker makes music for me too. So we're gonna talk about producing for all these motherfuckers and talk about Yum Yum and talk about a lot of stuff, because I'm gonna go deep with Devereaux. So join me next Friday for an interview with Devereaux. Oh, and next Thursday, I got to promote this. Next Thursday, I'm opening for Misery and DJ Clay in Manchester, New Hampshire. I have tickets for that. Buy your tickets from me. Save a little bit of money from buying at the door. If you buy them from me, they're $15. At the door, they're $20. Come see me at Manchester, New Hampshire at the Jewel nightclub. DJ Clay, Misery. I think Tara Diaz also added to the show. It wasn't me, Yakima said. Damn it, it was the other Yakima. Okay.
Too many
So I
Yakimas
didn't
in the
fucking.
jungle.
I don't know. There's a lot of yaks. Not other yak. It's Yakob and Yakima. It's a lot of yaks.
They should be a tag team. Form a rap
The
group.
yaks. The yaks. Shouts out to Yak Balls, a very obscure New York rapper. We're all over the place, so that means it's time to wrap this up. Thank you again for joining me, man. Whoop whoop.
Thank you.
And it's time to end broadcast.
Whoop whoop.
Whoop whoop. End broadcast. Love you guys.